it's crazy because this guy is calling me pathetic, and he's like, you're asking people to repost your lies. I literally do research, and of course, any content creator says, repost my stuff, share my stuff. You know what I mean? You, you're the one that's pathetic, dude. You're in like all the comments of my videos, just sprouting nonsense, bro. If I'm posting lies and you guys are the Native Americans and I post lies, please explain to me why the same year and period you got the category in the census for Negro exploding and the Indian category going to zero. Please explain to me why a group supposedly imported from Africa um, outnumber you, the supposed indigenous people. You're like 1% of the population. That doesn't even make sense that anyone could get down that low on their own land. Unless you're a foreign group. Mm. And then, we know white, which is the largest population in America, consists of a bunch of different nations of people that not even all are white people. Okay? So it just doesn't make sense. You're the native people of America, but when I go outside, you don't see you people anywhere. I mean, I can go outside and not see one Native American all day for multiple days in a row. You can't go outside and not see one black person. You can't, because we're everywhere. Even though we're a minority, we're everywhere. You'll see us in the little corner stores in the countryside. You'll see us in the cities. You'll see us everywhere. If for you guys to be Native Americans, and for you to also to be 1 to 2% of the population like you are, you're close to 1%, is unfeasible. Unfeasible, because there's not enough of you. You're saying you're the people that fought in all those Indian wars and went to war with, and then what? They just lowered you down to 1% of the population, and I guess everything we say doesn't make sense. I guess the having one category of indigenous people drop in 40 years and simultaneously having the Negro category explode, while this time slave trading was made illegal, so there was no slave imports in America. So they wasn't replenishing their slaves from Africa like you're claiming. Slavery was made illegal. Bringing in slaves was made illegal. So therefore, where did all these so-called black people come from? You're trying to say in 40 years they triple, quadruple backflipped, and that just doesn't happen in history. And the only time anything that's called exponential growth, only time exponential growth ever happens in history is under ideal conditions, which guess what? Black people didn't have ideal conditions back then. They were going through a system that was trying to treat them like property. You know what I mean? And when you go and you really look and you study subjugation and how that works with different nations and military conquest, exactly what happened to black people is exactly what would happen to us if we were the indigenous people of America. We would be taken as prisoners of war, and then we would have go through slavery, right? And then like always with these situations, the slave owners and slave masters always teach the wrong history to the people they have conquered because they don't want problems down the line with the America's second largest racial group. Really, if we're being honest, we're the largest racial group in America because white people got into this conglomerate and made this whiteness up. And you know what? You prove it. That's why they say, hey, you can look it up right now. Native Americans have East Asian and Caucasian DNA. All your little tribes that's been accepted by the white people, that's why you're accepted by the white people. Because you guys are sellouts. You guys are sellouts. You're Caucasians. That's why Asian and Caucasian go together. And y'all know that. And y'all try to go, hey, we're these people. We're whoever. We're whoever we want to say we are. You feel me? And it's just funny to me that you want to get in my comments and argue with me, but you don't have no facts. You want to say, but we're all Africans. But you're simultaneously admitting one, Africans have the highest genetic diversity on the planet. So if what you're saying is true, we come from Africa. Everyone comes from Africa. And somehow you're the ancient people of this land and you have no African blood, but the whole human race started in Africa, then this is what you guys have to believe. See, like, even when you go with what you believe, none of that shit makes sense. It's all a lie. This is Africa. You get what I'm saying? And in the future, y'all all gonna look dumb as fuck. I mean, like really, really dumb for sitting there and going with the lies and believing the lies your ancestors told you. That's why, right in the scriptures, it says, "For sure, the Gentiles will come to the Most High before the ends of the earth and say, Our fathers have inherited lies and things in which there are no profit, because you guys have all inherited lies." Okay? You've been lying to yourself. You believe lies. You love lies. You made lies your refuge. That's another scripture. You know? Like, I'm just saying, if you're the Native Americans, why are you 1% of the population? Name one time in history where people invaded, took over, and lowered the original population to 1%. Because we all know that history repeats itself. That's a proven fact. That history repeats itself in patterns, cyclical patterns. Right? Where is that pattern in history that says you're Native Americans? That says, hey, the people living on reservations that you barely see anywhere, because they're only 1% of the population, are the original people of this land, north and south and coast to coast and Canada. That doesn't even make sense. There's not enough of you to be the indigenous people of America. Even counting a genocide. No genocide in history has, like Hitler he wasn't able to kill 99% of the so-called Jews. That just didn't happen. And there's no historical record of 99% of the indigenous people being slaughtered like that. You know how much killing that is? There is none. You know what I'm saying? Like, trace it down in the history books to where they started getting your populations down to 1%. Because I could tell you, the pattern of 13 to 15% of the population, which black people really are, 13 to 15%, when you do the honest estimates, you know, if you go off official numbers, it's just 13. If you go off of the actual numbers, because they always want to, you know, downplay the adversarial groups, they always want to downplay their numbers. They don't want you to know how many there are, you know. We're 13 to 15% of the population. You would be, you know, 3 to 4% of the population, 1 to 4% of the population, even if I give you the same consideration. And then what? What does that mean? That means they killed off almost 90% of the population of Native Americans. So, like, you guys be talking all this, oh, it looks fair, oh, pretendy and all this other stuff. Niggas, y'all don't know nothing about no history or nothing like that. Niggas, you're 1% of the population in your own homeland, according to you. Please explain to me how that's possible. That bitch is crazy. Please explain to me how that's possible. Because I would love to know. You feel me? I would love to know.